Hello, welcome to In Bed with Books, the podcast where we talk about smutty fantasy, classics, and more. My name is Melissa.
And I'm Bethany. If you'd like to find more of us, you can find us on our website, inbedwithbookspod.com, YouTube for video versions of the podcast, or wherever you pod on Spotify and Apple Podcasts.
If you want to see us outside of the podcast, then head over to Instagram and follow us at In Bed with Books Pod.
Thanks for being here. Let's jump right in. Oh, I'm glad you also watch Kimmy Schmidt. I have to watch it every once in a while just to watch Titus again.
Yeah.
I need Titus in my life. All of these, also, he's a Pisces actor.
In real life or in the show?
Mm-hmm. In real life.
Okay.
John Hamm is a Pisces.
Okay.
Just putting it out there for everyone.
I didn't really watch past, and this is not to be like, now that you've said I've seen it, but like I didn't really watch past the second season
of Kimmy Schmidt.
Yeah. Sorry, I am fixing my fan right now because it is aggressively loud.
I forget what happens after season 2. Or what happens in season 2.
Yeah, I haven't seen it in years.
Did you get to it when Tina Fey shows up?
No.
Oh, okay.
I can say that even though I haven't seen it in years, the theme song will sometimes, it's like an earworm, but it's like a good kind. It's a good earworm. It's a good fucking song.
Yeah. I love the endings too, where they do the when they do the musical song, like,
yeah,
the musicals where what's the one about the bird and the dad?
I don't remember. I'm sorry.
I know. Yeah, I can't remember. It's so funny.
Like the things that Tina Fey was there from the beginning. The things that I remember distinctly were the theme song, John Hamm being like too charismatic in a good way, and then Tina Fey's perm.
Because Tina Fey is the therapist that she goes to in, I think, season 3. Tina Fey does have a perm in 30 Rock when they do flashbacks of her in high school.
So in the first season, she plays the lawyer.
Oh, yes. She plays a lawyer. Yeah, that's a good one.
Yeah, so that was like
she plays 2 different characters. That's so funny. Yeah,
I think it's because she's one of the writers, right? Or one of the
she's like I think she created the show.
Mm-hmm.
Titus, I love him so much.
I also love Carol. I think her name's Carol Kane. She plays their landlord. She's so absurd. I
Vivian.
love her voice though. Yes, her voice is great.
Her and Titus are so funny together because she's just like. But I like the I also really love how they incorporate like poorness. Yeah. Of just like, you're just going to use, I can't think of anything off the top, but like they like go through hoops also, to like have the luxury, but with like these like
they'll do like the opposite side too, because the blonde lady who's rich, I remember the one episode where like they're talking in the kitchen or something and she's like, do you want a water?
Yeah.
No?
And then
she just tosses it, and then she tries another one and she tosses again, like just throwing out whole bottles of water. That's fine. No, okay, I don't remember what season it was actually, but one of the last things I remember was that Titus was actually dating the construction worker, and that happened over like the course of the season. And so I think the last that I saw is that they were together.
Yes.
Maybe.
Yes.
Yeah.
There's that episode where I think his name's Mike. Yeah, Mike. He takes Titus to his family, who's like this big Italian American family. No. Oh, it's really funny because his grandma is literally a puppet.
Oh my God. No. Okay, maybe I have to catch up.
It's really funny.
Maybe I need to catch up.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's It's good. Okay. What are we talking about today, Melissa?
So today we are talking about Glint. Glint,
Glint.
Glint by Raven Kennedy. I panicked for a second because we went so like we kept forgetting if it was Glint or Gleam for the longest time.
Yeah.
And so as it came out of my mouth, I was like, oh God, is that right? Even though I just spent the entire like a week reading the book. So
Yeah. Yeah, definitely.
that's where my brain is at.
Yeah, the second in the Plated Prisoner series,
Yes.
which we were excited for because we didn't even meet like the love interest until like the last like chapter of the first book, which was really frustrating for us because we were
so
like
frustrating. I was like, if Midas is like a real love interest like under consideration here, I don't know if we're gonna survive this.
Yeah. I don't know how long I'm gonna last.
Kindle could survive this. Yeah.
Yeah.
But we have been not thoroughly enough, but briefly introduced to Rip / Slade. I was so I finished the book before you, which I feel like doesn't usually happen.
Mm-hmm.
Usually I'm reading right up until the last second.
Right.
And so you had texted me and you're like, I've got like, I don't know, like I'm at like 60%. And I mean, you sent that message and I had literally just finished the book and I was like, I need somebody to talk to about this.
Yeah.
like I need a therapist real quick.
Yeah.
If that was possible.
I know. We need a therapist because Arn needs a fucking therapist.
Oh my God, she does.
She needs a friend. And
she does.
What's her name? Lou? No,
Lou, yeah.
not Lou. Lou?
Yeah. The
warrior.
Yeah.
Yeah. I hope that she becomes a friend because she really fucking needs a friend. That's not like one of the saddles, you know?
Yeah. Well, the thing is, the saddles just aren't her friend, even though
Yeah.
we ended the last one and we definitely thought, I think it was Risa was going to be her friend after everything that happened, which like, I don't really even blame the character like Risa for what she did because it was also an extremely traumatic event.
Yeah.
But we went into this one thinking that she'd have like a little bit more help on her side, and that was not the case, and that was really frustrating.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
Especially like there was the line when she was talking to the cook whose name I can't remember, although I loved him. He was great. Okay, I also, the total side note, let's hope I remember where I was going with this. I just watched Atlantis, the like early 2000s Disney movie. It does hold up, in case anyone's wondering.
It's a great movie.
It is.
Yeah.
The sexual prowess of Vinny, the bomb guy. I don't know what it is. It might be the accent. It might just be that haircut is like aged well to like today's attractive standards. But something about the way he just like nonchalantly is like, yeah, I got 12 bombs, 3 red flare. Like he's just listing off all of these like extremely dangerous things.
Yeah.
And I'm kind of like, am I into this? It's fine, Melissa. We've been into worse.
But they have a cook. Is that where you were going with it?
Yes,
I was like, exactly I immediately remembered the cook. Yeah.
Yes, same characterization. Like he's just kind of, you can feel like the southernness in him with the way that he's like cooking, because he talks about like he said this one phrase that reminded me of my grandma. He was like, that'll stick to your ribs.
Yeah.
I love southern phrases like that. But even like the way he was kind of sassy, it reminded me a lot of him. But okay, I remember. So backtrack. At one point he is with her, like she's trying to get him to like help her give the saddles like a proper place to bathe. And they are just assholes to her, which it's really frustrating because it's from her point of view to watch, but also like understanding that she is kind of like between them and a good life. I'm sure she's like the object of all of their frustrations.
Yeah.
he said something about like, you are far nicer than they deserve, and she was like, well, people don't deserve kindness. They're like, they don't have to earn it. People should just get kindness.
Oh,
um
I underlined that. Yeah.
yeah, yeah. And that was a good part, because like it really puts a lot of her behavior into perspective,
Mm-hmm.
which is, it's interesting because she's had such a difficult life, how still oddly optimistic she is, even if she doesn't feel optimistic. I think she's far more optimistic than she sees.
Yeah,
So
absolutely. Like, she has no one, right? But Midas, this idea in her mind, right?
yeah, yeah.
Um, and she can't trust anyone. It's interesting because there's a lot of like protagonists where they're always looking for opportunities,
Mhm.
and she's not,
Yeah.
which I found interesting. Like, I mean, granted, we did just get done reading Jude, who's like
Yes, yes.
intensely like ambitious and
Well, I think because we both kind of talked about how frustrating it can be sometimes with Aaron,
mhm,
because, and I think that is a very good example of why, because a lot of the like girls that we read, the protagonists that we read in our books here on the podcast, and I guess like just generally, they by this time in the story have already had that like epiphany that
right.
she just had at the very, very end of
Yeah.
book two.
Yeah.
And so like they're already
Slow
looking
burn.
for opportunities. Yes, yes, slow burn for her, just to like find herself,
Yeah.
to realize that the Midas that she thinks is there is not real.
Mhm.
And it reminds, like, I think we talked about this in the last book, but him calling her his precious, major Gollum vibes still. I like that we have the confirmation that Midas does not have any powers, because it like confirms some of that power dynamic between them a little bit firmly, or a little bit, I guess, more concretely. But yeah, it gets really frustrating sometimes. I have to remind myself that we're watching like a victim of years of abuse try to
Yeah.
unravel those, like the way that the world exists in her mind.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that can be really difficult sometimes.
Yeah. Because we're about 80 to 95% in her brain in this whole book. And so it's just her ruminating it all. And so yeah, I do think she, like, instead of looking for, like when she's in the tent, the first time she goes into the tent, and she like gets dressed and he sees her naked, and then we'll just gloss right over that.
He didn't even care that she was naked. He cared that he saw a massive bruise on her side.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Fucking love him, but let's just wait a minute, because I have a point to this.
Yeah, sorry.
But, no, that's okay. So she it was like when she was in the tent, and she was kind of like, she was like, when he like finally came in to like when she realized he was like going to be sleeping with her in the tent or whatever, and then even when like the healer comes, Hoyt,
Hojat,
what's that from? Yeah, Hojat like came, and like she didn't trust anyone. So she has like this absolute no trust. Everyone will bring her harm. Nothing can be good from this, which is fair. She did come from the Red Raiders, which was intense. Yeah. She just had that whole thing with Captain Fane. And
I think also, sorry, just kind of also with the Captain Fane thing, is that she has no control over her powers.
Yeah.
And so I think it's like a mix of the physical abuse that she's experienced as like an orphan and as this like woman in a man's world, but also the fact that Midas has like demonized her abilities to her. And so she's so like, I feel like we've read another character, but that is kind of like this, but where they're so scared of their own abilities that they just keep pushing it down and until it's
Mhm.
worse, which is a good metaphor for things generally, you know? Don't
Yeah.
push it down. It's gonna make it nasty.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so I think a lot of it is she doesn't trust people. She doesn't trust herself.
Mhm.
And like you said, it's like really frustrating to live in this mind that's been Stockholm syndromed. And trying to still understand, you're trying to understand where she's coming from, where you're just like thinking of all the things she should be doing, you know, like
Yeah.
the opportunities, right? Like we can see the opportunities she can't,
Mhm.
and trying to like, it's almost like trying to make your mind smaller,
Yeah.
trying to like experience her world. Whereas like maybe other characters who have maybe more abilities than us are able to like, we're seeing things bigger than us, right?
Yeah.
And so it's like this weird feeling to be like reverting and to be smaller and like trying to
Yeah.
understand where she's coming from. Um so yeah, that was my point.
No, I firmly agree with that. Yeah. I think too, like, there are parts of the book where it's almost too relatable too.
mhm,
Like, I wouldn't say as a whole, but sometimes the way that she like conceptualized, like the way she tries to what's the word? Like rationalize what's
mm,
going on and what's happened to her. Because there's even, I want to say it's a flashback. I want to say it's during the flashback when she's like shown her cage for the first time, her jail cell basically in the old castle in the Sixth Kingdom.
yeah,
When she first sees it, she's not excited.
yeah,
She has this like single sentence or this like half a line, but then like the tone changes because she needs to make Midas happy. And
yeah,
like that part made me tear up because I was
mhm,
like, you know, that those moments when like you know you can't be honest because it'll make things worse.
yeah,
Which is like you feel so sad for her in those moments.
yeah. It's like the beginning of shutting that person down, shutting
Yeah.
yourself
Yeah.
down,
And by that point
and
I
being
like,
someone else.
yeah, yeah. Like I would say by that point, like the introduction of the cage was just like the full closure of who she used to be as a person.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
Um so like that point in her life is kind of like the pinpoint of the beginning of where she is now.
Yeah,
So like in
yeah,
a way, the cage kind of like represents also the way she's had to literally shrink her own mind to
yeah.
just survive where she is.
Yeah, she revisited the cage and she realized she was different.
Yeah.
Which she
Yeah.
even said she was different, you know. She told Rip,
Yeah.
like, I'm different now, which
Mm-hmm.
is true to an extent. And as much as it is frustrating, you know, because we're
Yeah.
Rip being like, why the fuck are you going back to him?
Yeah.
Um, as frustrating as it is, like Feyre also had to go back to Tamlin. Like everyone has to go back
Yeah.
and face their demons. We get it.
Yes.
Like
And she needed it like more than Feyre. Like
oh yeah.
Feyre went to be a spy.
Yeah.
She needed to see that Midas is terrible. She needed to
Yeah.
fall out of love with him.
Yeah. She needed to
Um,
openly reject him.
yes, yes. To see the side of him that they were shit talking the entire time
Mm-hmm.
in their army. But yeah, I think like so even in like the flashback, we didn't have confirmation that she could take like turn things gold, that it
Mm-hmm.
was just her power. But then once she arrives in the new castle, and I think it was Fifth Kingdom, is when he's like, we've got so many plans for you. And like at that moment, you know, and
Yeah.
he's just like, the only plan he has for you is for you to turn everything gold. That is it.
Yeah.
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 Oh, sorry. People yell real quick. It's okay.
Oh, I couldn't hear anything. So
No, that's fine. It just startled me.
yeah.
Um, yeah.
So I feel like we kind of discussed this prior. We kind of felt like it was running a little slow.
Yeah.
However, I liked I was really starved and really excited when like things would happen. Like,
Yes,
like,
yes, they were so much bigger.
yeah, like, her interactions with, oh, who is the guy that made breakfast? I forget his name.
Same.
Oh, damn. Cause he was
I-
fun.
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
she's making friends, which is exciting.
Yes.
And then what was her name? The warrior? The
Lou.
warrior. Warrior sounds so romantic. And then it's the only thing I can think of, the soldier, the commander, whatever. And then
Captains. I think they're
captain,
captains.
yeah, because she was
Yeah.
like in charge of like people.
She had
And
her own
then
flank.
yes. And then we meet the saddles, and like there's that whole interaction. And I just really loved that, like, when she met Lou, her
Yes.
I can't see it. So when she met Lou, it was in the context of like stealing ale, which I loved.
Yes.
So it's like these like little adventures that you go on in this like camp. And then
I do love that later on they steal it again, her and the guy from the right flank.
yeah. Yeah.
And so that's just a running thing now.
Yeah.
Maybe
Yeah.
in like the next book or the book after that, she'll steal it for herself.
I hope so. And for her
That'd be
own
fun.
like fleet.
Yes.
Her own fleet.
Not even for her own fleet. Like Rip just comes back to the tent and she's like half a barrel in.
Yeah. She's just in the barrel.
Yeah.
And then but I felt like after, so then there's like the fight scene, which we can get into, like the training.
Mhm.
But it really feels like there's this sense of camaraderie that she's building with everyone, and like,
Yeah.
which is really exciting to see, because we didn't have that in the last book. We had a little
Mhm.
bit of it with Sale, and that was about
Yeah.
and
Digby,
Digby, who's still
who I
at
still
large.
don't believe is dead. Yeah.
Yeah, he's still at large.
Yeah. Yeah. He's not
He's
gone.
definitely
I
out there.
refuse.
Digby's our dad, right? The
Yeah.
dad, a little bit.
Yeah, I think so. Just because, like, as far as I'm concerned, with any kind of fiction, if I don't see a body, they are not dead.
No, nope.
Yep. Sometimes even when I see a body, if
Yeah.
I don't see that body removed, they are not dead.
Yeah.
So I will not say who that is related to. Eddie Munson. I fully buy into, and I don't know how much of this is just hopeful thinking, but I fully buy into the, like, he's going to be a vampire in the next one.
Yeah, he's gonna be
Kaz.
he's gonna be their link to the Upside Down.
Maybe.
Like their positive link. Like he's going
I'm
to
also
be like a creature of the Upside Down, but he's gonna be like good.
Yeah. Oh yeah, yeah.
He's gonna be actual devil.
Have you seen the theories though?
No.
So in D&D, in like the lore,
Okay, so
Vecna,
you
the
have
character.
Fucking Milo just had me watch a video about Vecna and D&D. So
Yes. So
I'm a
in
little
D&D,
fresh.
He's defeated by his own commander, who is Kaz, the vampire. And so the theory now is that that is what Eddie is and going to become. And then either he's going to be like under his control and will betray him, or just like will be on their side as a vampire. Who's to say? But so
the ultimate Jon Snow moment.
yeah, I'm like really, really hanging on to that.
Yeah, I think you should. I think we all should.
Thank you. Yes, he was too good for this world.
The Duffer Brothers should know their audience.
They really
him back.
should. Also, what was I gonna say? Oh, so they had this in an interview recently. They were talking about season 5, the last season, and they said they aren't going to be introducing anyone new.
I think they're starting to wrap up.
Yeah, no, they are. Season 5 is the last season, but I'm also like, they love introducing new characters.
Yeah,
which means they're gonna do something that'll make up for that in their, you know what I mean? Like, not like make up for it in the audience sense, but make up for it in their own sense of like how they write. Because they've talked about previously, they've talked about how the way they write is really character oriented. So they introduce new characters and they like pit new people with each other just to see what would happen.
Yeah.
So it's basically how like Dustin and Steve got together. They were
Right.
just like, we don't have anything to do with them right now. Let's just stick them together and see what happens.
Yeah.
So it's interesting. It'll be fun to see what they do in season 5 with that in mind.
Yeah.
So tangent.
Yep.
Sorry.
No worries. No worries.
Yeah, I firmly believe that Digby's still alive. He's still out there somewhere.
Yeah, I hope so.
Maybe
I'm excited.
Digby was Rip all along.
Yeah,
He's the
because
shapeshifts.
clearly.
Yep.
And he was just watching over her. Oh, fuck.
That'd be like, I doubt it, but do you know how much I would like it?
Yeah, I mean, I'm getting a little horny about it now.
Oh my
I
God,
love that. I fucking love that.
He's like, you can call me daddy. Thank you.
Yes. Oh my God,
The
Rip
kiss,
is
the
such a fucking
single-chased
daddy.
kiss. Yes. He's
Ugh.
not a dad. He is a daddy.
He's yeah, there's a difference.
Yes, there is a very succinct difference between these two.
Oh yeah, the kiss. We got a kiss. That's what we got in this book. I was told, I just remember before we started the series that, oh, it's like going to be a sexy one. And I was like, cool, like we really need a sexy one. We didn't get anything. I mean, you got like
like first, it's like forced voyeurism is what it was.
Yeah, which isn't
because
it's not as like it's not like no one's enjoying it. It's not like anyone's free will.
Like, yes. And then after that, we just got like aggressive sexual assault.
Yeah.
And now we've got a single kiss.
Yeah, we got a kiss. We're taking what we can get.
Mm-hmm.
I will say
my motto.
There was some sexual tension that I appreciated as well.
Yeah. Yes.
You know, they didn't share one bed, but definitely sharing one tent.
It's the same thing when he walks in on her naked.
Yeah, exactly. Same thing.
Yeah.
But just, you know, he's just very powerful. You know?
I do know.
Those are my words for that.
So that I can collect myself, I'm going to change the subject real quick. We will come back to this. I just have to catch my breath.
Okay.
One part that I actually had to like stop because the secondhand embarrassment was too much is when she's like watching their fight club and then she sees the kid get in the ring in the circle and she runs down there and she's like, stop, I won't let this happen. And I was like, oh no.
Oh,
like
God.
I had to like this the what is it, the chapter ends pretty much just at like the peak of that conflict, and I was like, I'm gonna make dinner. I gotta this has to simmer.
Yeah,
I can't, like, this is gonna be so bad.
dude I did the same thing.
Yeah,
because I was actually thinking it was before she like went down there.
Mm-hmm.
But it was like when she was about to go down or something. And I'm thinking, okay, this is like a good opportunity for her to like learn something.
Yes.
And get involved with something and like put herself in there, because she's really just like this, like she's really just drifting. Yeah. And so I was like, this will be like a good adventure for her to like learn something. But then it just was just like so fucking
yes,
for her. Yeah, I agree. I was like very embarrassed for her.
yes. If we want to talk about like her and opportunities, she saw this and instead of like
it misfired.
It misfired so hard.
Yeah.
Like she was not even speaking the right language.
Yeah.
So that was pretty bad. But that led
to the circle.
It led to such a tender moment of,
oh my God, when was melting.
He's like, I just couldn't resist. I went over and I touched him. Like, where? More
Tell
details.
us where. Details.
Tell us, go farther down.
Tell us the
or grab
details.
harder. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The details.
Yes.
No, I was melting every like word of the moment when she was describing him coming forward, taking his shirt off, and just all of that. Like, I was just like, okay, I'm
Yes.
100% here.
We're on board. Yeah.
I'm here for this. I'm on the ship and I'm sailing.
Uh-huh.
It was
Yes.
glorious. You don't get a lot of, I feel like it hasn't been a while since we've had like a scene like that
Mm-hmm.
in terms of like actually describing it like a teenager or something, like
Yeah.
of like
Drawing it out.
yeah, literally drawing it out. And you're
Yeah.
like, rather than it's always he takes his shirt off and then you have to like kind of fill in the blanks. But it was kind of nice that it put it out there for us.
It's so detailed. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Detailed.
Yeah. So yeah, I enjoyed that scene. For the most part, because once he got to like antagonizing her, I got really frustrated. And I think this might just be some kind of like a little bit of a disconnect between book 1 and book 2. But like she had a really, really hard time taking sail off of the ship.
Right.
Like her ribbons were really struggling. She felt really weak afterwards. I mean, her ribbons were basically just like, and of course there were like a few other reasons that went into this, but by the time we get to the beginning of book 2, her ribbons are just like they're shot. They're like weak, they're wrinkled, they're tiring her out. And then in this one, he says a few like really rude comments and she just like throws him across the snow into a snowbank. And I'm like, I don't know, like it's nighttime too, because we know that the sun gives her more power. And so I think that was really frustrating, because I think I just don't like when people, like when authors use anger as like a motivating force to just like overcome anything.
Right.
Because like, yeah, people can have like random bouts of like intense strength. That is something that's on record, but that's if like it's a mother and her son is trapped in a burning car.
Yeah.
Or like think like life or death situations.
Yeah.
People getting angry is not that kind of situation, you know?
Yeah.
So I get a frustration with that, but that's not exclusive to like this book. That is just something that happens. And when that happens, it feels like, okay.
It felt a little bit out of place, or like kind of,
Yeah.
I
really like, and I'm going to bring this back to Stranger Things.
Okay.
I really like when we get to see the progression of somebody's abilities. So like just having rewatched parts of season 1 recently, at the very beginning, Nancy is not a badass. She can barely use weapons. She doesn't know how to like fight or do anything.
Yeah.
But then that fucking beautiful like #girlboss shot in season 4, when she's just like using the sawed-off shotgun to kill Vecna. Like the progress she has gone through, just like she's got guns, she's happy having guns, she knows how to shoot. It's not even just like this is in case of emergencies. Like she's clearly going out and she's practicing with this and she's improving herself. I love that shit.
Yeah.
So I like to see like they've practiced and they've earned it, you know?
Yeah. And I feel like this this book, I'm trying to think of like what happened, and not a lot happens. Like when you kind of think of like, well, like what happened in this book, and you're like, because a lot of it is just like you're in Arn's head, you're just processing everything as it comes. Like it's not like she has no motivation other than
only motivation is
to get
Midas.
back. And exactly. So it feels very like all of these, like I feel like it reminds me a little bit of Mist and Fury, but like but also not. Like you feel like it should be Mist and Fury. Or at least maybe
like,
that's
the
what I
first
was like
part.
wanting out of it, you know? Yeah,
Yeah.
like, and then like she never gets the training. She doesn't get a lot of training yet. Like
Mhm.
you're a little bit behind, and so I feel like had she started training a little bit earlier in the book, it might have made sense for her like ribbons to kind of come
Yeah.
out, or
Yeah.
at least for her to like gain some kind of strength, you know?
Yeah.
Because she's really just like you said, she's very sedentary
Yeah. Yeah. And
most
she
of her
admits
life.
that too.
Mm-hmm.
And she draws frustration from that. And I think that's another reason is like she's so she actively talks about that, how
Mm-hmm.
she needs to start living a little bit more actively.
Yeah.
But just walking around the camp every night isn't going to do that.
Yeah.
But I do like the Mist and Fury comparison because she like this book basically ends at what would be like plot wise Feyre being locked in the house.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's really exciting for the next book.
Yeah.
Because
it's what we said about the last book, but I'm hoping that this time it's right.
Yeah, like the best part of Mist and Fury is after she gets rescued. Mm-hmm. So I was just thinking like, okay, where have we been set up in this book? Where is book 3 going to start? 1, we can assume that she's still with Midas because they're all going to be in the castle for now. But we can also probably assume she won't be in a cage.
Yeah.
2, Rip/Slade has just killed all of her guards, and that's not going to be easy to hide. So it's going to be very clear that like he is making some kind of like political or like literal move on her in Midas's eyes.
Yeah.
And we don't know how long they're going to stay there. So I have hopes that the next book could have at least like several chapters of like court intrigue, kind of like playing like coy, doing kind of like read between the lines shit with each other over Aaron. So I think that'll be really fun.
Yeah, I'm interested to see what Aaron's place in the court is without if she's not in the cage. Yeah. I'm assuming we're done with the cage. It felt metaphorically, whatever. It felt like we're done with the cage.
Yeah. I mean, it depends on what Midas wants. And I hate to say that, but like
what kind of power he still has. Like,
yeah, he could leave her out as like a symbol of I don't need to cage her. Look at how under my thumb she is, you know? Right. So I guess we'll see. Yeah. Sorry, go ahead.
No, that's all. I'm just kind of excited to see like how much she's able to be participating in.
Yeah.
Socializing with other people, because it didn't seem like she really had. She was just saddle. Yeah.
Yeah. And we are leaving out like a really big part of this, which is that we got a second point of view, the queen.
Yes.
Which Queen Melina. First couple of chapters, I guess like the first chapter I was into it, and then there was a few in the middle where I was like, meh. Mm-hmm. But then the last one where she meets that peddler, that was something like straight out of a Faye story where he was like, just take my gift, like whatever, just take my gift. You don't have to pay anything. And she's just like, at first she was really mean to him, and I was like, girl, don't be mean to him. Do not be mean to him.
Yeah.
And then she just gets like a little selfish.
Yeah.
So I would be curious to see if we see him again. Maybe like suddenly like a few days, like in the timeline, a few days later, he's in the fourth kingdom and or in the fifth kingdom, and he's giving a gift to Aaron and Rip or Midas or something. But I think seeing her point of view made it easier for me to understand the saddles as well.
Yeah.
Because we saw more actively from somebody else's point of view how it looked for everybody else about like Midas and Aaron.
Yeah. And like the palace and stuff was really interesting, and how it used to be, and the contrast.
And I'm all about her taking over. I love it. Like, I hope she changes that whole place back. Because, like, I get that she's also a bitch. But
Yeah,
I
and
think
she's
what
like
would be
shitty to like poor people.
yeah, yeah. I mean, she's a queen. I wouldn't really
She's a
expect anything
Cersei.
else. Yeah, yeah. But the easy thing to do would be to slowly but surely rebuild your castle and take all of that gold and turn it into the city, like give it to the
Mhm.
people. But that won't happen
No.
because it never once occurred to her.
Yeah.
But yeah. I thought that was fun.
Yeah. It was fun to have a different point of view and not
Yeah.
always be in Arn's head. Like it was kind of nice to hear something else. And also, yeah,
brave.
hear a different like relationship to Midas.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Also, it does make me curious about how she plays into the future.
Yeah. Yeah, they're definitely planting something.
Yeah, yeah, because like she clearly is going to be against Midas. But that means then we've got 3 players because we've got Midas versus the 4th kingdom, and now we've got Midas versus his own kingdom.
Yeah.
But he's got a new kingdom, so he's got 5th kingdom. So he's not
Right.
without an army, he's not without forces. But I would argue that he's definitely the least stable of everybody.
Yeah.
So
Well, and it was also interesting to learn finally. It was funny too because the book was very like snide or like subtle about
mhm.
the reveal that she's the one that's been making all the gold, which we kind of already kind of knew, I guess.
Yeah.
But it just kind of slipped it in. It
Yep.
wasn't like a aha moment that you were
Like,
kind of like hoping for.
it's kind of like we're waiting for that confirmation the whole time, either from her on this like big whole thing, but then it's
And
just
then
kind
they're
of
just
like
like,
Midas
eh.
talking nonchalantly about it. Yeah.
They're just like, yeah, she like does it. So, and we're like, oh,
Yeah.
so then it changes a lot about what his motivations to getting her back were. Because
Yeah.
at first you're kind of thinking, oh, like it's more of a statement of like power and trying to like reestablish this. Like it's such an insult that these people like stole her from him,
Mhm.
but and like trying to regain that kind of like whatever back. But really, it's literal power. Like that's literally
Yeah.
all he has.
Like the reveal is him talking about the fact that he has to pay the people who have been helping him so far because they're getting antsy.
Oh yeah.
And so he's so glad that he has her so he can finally pay these people in the gold. Like,
Go back to your fucking kingdom.
yeah, you've got a whole fucking building of gold. Use
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
Also you've got like troves of it because this guy has been turning like everything that you turn into gold, he doubles.
Yeah.
Because he had the power to like multiply things he touched. So like
Yeah. Yeah.
you have the ability to pay them. You just don't want them to do that because you consider that to be your gold.
Yeah.
So so that was a really defining way for us to learn that for sure, or for that to be confirmed for us.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I really hope in the next book too that the saddles like warm up. Or some of them. I want them
Yeah.
to keep playing a role, I guess. I want to kind of see
Yeah.
where it goes.
I do want some of them to like get out.
Yeah.
To have the opportunity to like start new. Because you can tell that they don't want to.
Yeah.
Like Risa, I hope she is able to buy herself off.
Molly's the one that's with child.
Pregnant. Yeah. Yeah. She was a bitch, so I hope she gets stuck with Midas. No. Do I? No. Maybe she'll have the only rightful heir to the throne. That would be a funny irony.
Yeah. She'll play up in later.
Yeah. I mean, she probably will if she's pregnant.
Yeah.
Especially because they've kind of started talking about Fifth Kingdom's heir, the son of the king who was killed. And he's talking about like he's like, oh, it's such a shame, but you know, I'm gonna do him a favor. He's too weak-willed or whatever it is, but like that doesn't change the fact that you need an heir, especially to hold on power. You need to ensure that you have a successor. Otherwise, people are just going to kill you and take it, you know?
Yeah.
So we'll see. Maybe that'll play a role. Maybe Molly will be disguised as the gold one.
Yeah.
He has shown his willingness to do it before. So
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. Sorry, I thought I had. I was
No,
just
no, you're
thinking.
good. Okay. Any final thoughts?
Final thoughts. I was excited to see more of Rip.
Slade.
Very, very excited. I mean, I think we can both agree we like him more than Art.
Yeah. Yeah. I was just kind of like waiting for his scenes.
I'm like, when's he coming back? When's he coming into the tent?
Yeah, yeah. Like when are you going to bed?
When is he
Rip
gonna
in there?
fill the tent with power?
Also, I do like the fact that we've had like a very clear example now of him, how he controls his power.
Yeah.
Because we've created now this connection where like he can show her how to do this. Like in that last scene, she's talking about how it's just like dripping out of her hand.
Yes.
Because she doesn't know how to stop it. And he seems to have a similarly overpowering ability. But the way she describes it is that like at first, or I guess the way everyone describes it is that at first there are all of these veins that are just like, you can tell that they are the rot.
Yeah.
But they get like sucked into his eyes, into like the iris of his eyes.
Yeah. Because he has like black eyes until he's Slade.
He's the king.
Yeah.
So I think he's going to be able to figure out, or like he's going to be able to teach her like a really fun way of, I guess not fun, but maybe like creative way of handling her power.
Yeah. Yeah, because that was like both their like secret together was like, well, what are you at the beginning? Now I'm trying to figure out what the the other guy, the really big guy,
Osric,
thank you.
yeah,
was kind of getting some underlying sexy tones from him as well. Not gonna lie. I don't know if that's just me hoping and wanting, not that anything's gonna happen, but just that he's sexy.
I think he might be more your type.
Yeah,
because I liked the mustard haired one.
Okay,
the,
yeah,
like tall skinny one. Yeah. Yeah. So she literally like she set up, she's like, here's the, you can fill in the blanks on Rip, but then we've got the big guy for some ladies, and we've got the skinny dude for other ladies and dudes. Whoever.
Yeah.
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 Cute. Yeah, I love that. You're like, no, I really liked mustard.
Yeah. Was that his name?
No, but
I don't
mustard haired. I don't remember any names. I think it's because I finished it a few days ago. Usually we finish it like the day of or the night before. So
yeah.
No, yeah.
Well, also like she didn't always learn names right away. She didn't like.
Yeah.
I think a lot of it too goes back to the fact that she doesn't seem that attached to these people.
Yeah.
And so she seems kind of blasé about things.
Yeah.
But
she doesn't want to get attached. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I really liked him.
I like
me and my orc obsession.
Like... Yeah. I like that he just like stood there in the circle, kind of just waiting to have the go ahead to try to fight her.
Yeah.
And he was like, them's the rules. So
yeah,
we're fighting.
Yeah. But then then Rip the savior comes in. He saves her
out of nowhere. Yeah. Yeah. And he, even though he kind of is an asshole in that scene, he's the one who saves her by like, he tells everyone to just like get fucked and leave. And then she can open up a little bit. Then she can walk up and feel his body.
Yeah.
So, yeah. I mean, I'm not complaining.
Yeah. I haven't been this like head over heels for someone in a while.
That's good. That's fun.
Yeah. Like in
Not
a recent
since,
read,
like-
you know?
Since like who would you say?
Well, I mean, like, I feel like he's up there a little bit.
Okay. Okay.
I mean,
I think I need to see a little
has,
bit more.
I need to see a little bit more, but the sexiness is there.
Yeah.
Like Reed isn't sexy at first, but he's just like so endearing. And then like,
Yeah. It grows.
and then you just love him.
Yeah.
But yeah,
There's something so hot about a guy who will just sleep in the same room with you and not make a move on you.
yeah.
And like the bar is so low if like it's just consent. But that, like the fact that he didn't make a move until that last night was really hot.
Yeah. Well, in the shit, it was there. There was that moment when she's like sick and finds
Yeah.
out that Molly's pregnant, and that was like about halfway through the book. It was a big breakthrough for her. And he just like, there's a lot of that like broody kind of energy we get from him because he just like has this like snarl or just like this, you know, look on his face. Scowl. Thank you. And but we don't really actually know what it means. It's like, you know, he could just be like upset with the situation, not her, but she thinks it's her, and it's all this like thing. But I just loved that I just really connected with the conversation where he was like, well, what do you want? And what is this, you know? And she just couldn't like get her brain around that.
She was like, well, Midas. And he was like,
yeah,
I do not give a shit about Midas. Like literally stop saying his name. I don't give a shit.
Which is
and then
funny,
afterwards,
which is funny because the whole like beginning, the whole first half of the book is like, she's like, why do you want to learn about Midas? And he's like, I did not talking about Midas. Like she doesn't know the difference between her and Midas, like in her brain.
Midas is like the sun in her universe.
Yeah.
Which is like so frustrating.
Yeah.
But yeah, like it's, I mean, okay. Thinking about it also, because we talk about how frustrating it gets. It also makes sense because if she had gone back and she hadn't have had all of the breakthroughs, all of the time training, all of the time walking around the camp, meeting people, being tended to by the doctor, then when that happened, one, she wouldn't have even been bothered by the cage this time. If she had, she would have just stuffed it back down again. But even if she was, she would have just talked herself out of the whole situation and told herself all over again that like, oh, well, it's just Midas. Midas knows all, like this is fine. So it's frustrating, but it also makes sense that she had to kind of go through all of that for that final event to actually be the last straw.
Yeah.
So
yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So what are your last thoughts?
I'd like to see Rip naked, but I think that's
absolutely,
that one's a little harder to get by. Mostly because
we'll
he's
get
a
there.
Character. Yeah.
We'll get there.
One day.
One day.
One day long in the future. So long.
So long.
Just gonna keep waiting. But what this also means, because the way that it left off, my actual final thoughts, the way that it left off means that we're going to get at least another book of some slow burn. Because they're going to have to regain a little bit of trust.
Yes.
And I do think it's imperative for their relationship that it's not just she jumps to Rip, but that she like befriends Lou. She befriends a few of the saddles and she finds herself before getting with Rip.
So this is the Mist and Fury, the next book.
Yes.
It's gotta be. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
Fingers crossed.
Oh, I'm so excited. I actually like I was telling you earlier, I don't know what it is with this season, but I'm just like so getting into the books. And I was just like so like I'm just like
It's nice to get some shorter books that like they
Yeah.
pay off a lot faster.
Yeah.
As
Yeah.
much as I love the 800-page books because like the endings are like mind blowing,
Yes.
it's nice to get
We
some,
can't do
just
that
some
all the time. Yeah.
fluff. Yeah.
Like
yeah.
you don't get mind-blowing sex all the time.
Yeah.
You
yeah.
need
You don't get
yeah.
like soul defining
Short and
sex
sweet.
every
Yeah.
single time. Yeah.
You need something short and sweet.
You need something that's just gonna like, you know, get your rocks off.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm really excited. I'm just like excited to read.
Same.
Yeah.
Same.
Yeah. So we're excited for Gleam, but that's probably not going to happen until next season. But our next read is The Kingdom of the Wicked.
Yes. That's just what I was looking up.
Carrie. I don't have it out. It's Carrie.
I can't say the last name. Manistulo.
King. Carrie Maniscalco.
Okay, I was close.
Maniscalco. Scalcho. Mischalcho. Miscalcho. I don't know. Because one C is a ch sound, and two C's is a k sound.
Other way.
Depends on.
What's the, how do you spell it?
Maniscalco.
Maniscalco.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah. I'm listening to it, and
yeah,
the narrator like is saying all of it's very Italian, and I haven't it says 19th century Palermo.
Oh, nice.
So because I didn't know that, and I was like, what day is it? What year? like, what's going on? I knew it was in Italy, you know. I knew somewhere in Italy, but so that's exciting. That's 19th century, because I'm like, you know, they haven't said anything about technology, and but yeah, so there's a lot of Italian names and places and things that the narrator is able to like pronounce, like, right. So it really made me feel like I was there. So that was kind of nice.
I have the ebook, so I imagine a lot of the words in my head are going to be like the first sound, first sound, and then
yeah.
So,
and I'll be like,
forgive me,
and I'll be like Vittoria, like I'll say, her name's
Just
Vittoria.
When we record that episode, please forgive my my
yeah. I'm really excited about that one now. But real quick before we wrap things up, I do want to mention we have a shop, and
yes,
we have a collection out now, which is kind of our main like merchy stuff, which has like our name on it, but we have a mug that we love that has, I don't know if you've been on Instagram, those who are listening, but we have an Instagram, and I think our profile image is, we call her the lady, but she's just like a classic
it's
drawing,
like an 18th century sketch
of like a lady reading, and she's like naked and stuff, so she's cute. And so we kind of put her on some things, so we have that. She's like on our tote bag, which I can see a little bit of it in behind on your screen, Melissa.
If you're on YouTube, then
I see one boob.
One of her boobs.
And then we have her on a mug, and then we have a t-shirt that has like kind of our mini logo on it and some stickers, but we're coming out with new collections that are going to be a little bit more saucy and fun. Care to give them a little like preview, Melissa?
We are releasing a little bit of a summer collection, so there'll be some things that are a bit seasonal, but also a phrase that we are frequent to say. I won't give it exactly. We're releasing a few things that are related to what I would say is a relevant kink on the podcast.
Yes. Very good. Very good.
Yes. I feel like that kind of
that's a good
wraps
hint.
up like, because we got a few different designs coming out, and so that'll
Yeah.
encapsulates, I think, all of
Yes.
them.
Yeah, it'll be fun. Yeah, we're hoping to get in like some hats,
Mhm.
do I think we wanted to do like a crop top, something a little bit
Fucking
more
love
like
crop tops, dude.
yeah. So
Yeah.
there's going to be new things with new
Yes.
things on them. So
Yep.
and if you want to go to our shop, just go to our website, inbedwithbookspod.com, and you should be able to find it there. But you can also just like purchase it from Instagram, which is kind of nice.
Yeah.
The
Yeah. We set up the shop on
shop.
Instagram.
So cool.
I also have a couple of things that I
Yeah.
want to say. Two things, real short and sweet. We are affiliated with Noble Objects, the literary candle company. And so if you go to the link in our bio or use the code books15 on their website, then you can get 15% off your purchase. They are amazing
one
smelling
here.
candles. Yeah. Yeah.
I
You
have
wanna
one
pull yours
here.
out?
Yeah.
Look at how beautiful.
Yeah. So I love
Let me
them because
describe it
they're
for
like,
people listening.
yes.
So it's a beautiful frosted vessel. It's a white candle. This is the War and Peace one. And so like all of their candles, it has a very special label, which is the cover of the book. What kind of wick is it?
Oh,
Okay, it's a cotton wick.
whip. Ooh.
I was looking, it looked kind of like it might have been a wooden wick from an angle, so I was just checking. Yeah.
What I like about these is that they're big. They're not tiny candles. So this is substantial. A substantial candle.
It's a solid candle.
Yes, solid candle. And they mainly have the book covers from classics, but they're like early editions. So they're really beautiful
gorgeous.
covers.
Yes.
I also have a Wuthering Heights one.
Yeah,
and I think you have a few as well.
Roulette. Yeah, real quick. Let's see which one I pulled. I like to keep. I'm such like a candle snob.
Yeah.
So this is the what it comes in.
Yeah.
I still have mine in this because
it's beautiful.
that's how I store all of my candles. Oh, this smells so good. I also like to preserve the smell. Okay. So I have War of the Worlds.
Oh, love that. I love that.
Yes.
That's such a great cover.
I cannot express to you how like I forgot how good this smelled. Like it coming out of the box was just
well,
amazing.
it like the box like contained it. It was like
yes, it did.
Yeah.
In the best possible way. So go to the link in our bio. And then
they have tons of books you can choose from.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Classics, just beautiful collection. I also want to say thank you for listening.
Mm-hmm.
I think we get so excited recording that we forget to say thank you when we record.
Yeah.
But we cannot express how thankful we are for all of you guys listening to us ramble on every week.
Yeah. Yeah,
So
sometimes we forget people listen.
Yeah. Sometimes I forget.
I mean, I think it's
more than just my
important.
mom.
Yeah. I mean, I think it's important as like people who are podcasting to be like enjoying it so much that you don't really need an audience, but I feel like we do this for us. We do it because we enjoy talking to each other about it. We do this because we love books and we love talking about them. But it's nice to know that like other people enjoy it.
And we also we do it so that people know that there's people out there who are just as disgusting as they are.
Yeah.
In like the best way.
Yeah.
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 So thank you for always listening, guys.
Yeah. Thumbs up.
All right.
Until next week. Happy reading.
Happy reading.
Bye.
Bye.